I usually make videos about learning languages, but I feel like this is a topic that I want to address. How fast can you actually forget a language? My mom forgot English after 40 years of not using it, and I kind of need right now to forget a language. That's why I'm making this video. So, a while back, I decided to learn German and Danish at the same time. And that was a complete failure because I was mixing the two languages. Obviously, because they were from the same origin, they're both Germanic languages, but also because my brain was just not having it. So I was like, at one point, I was like, oh, it's been a year on Duolingo with German and I'm not learning anything. I'm just going to go to class now and see how that's going to be. And then I went to the class and the teacher was like, oh, what's chicken in German? And I was like, Kühling. And the teacher was like, it's not. And I was like, pretty sure it is. And the teacher was like, yeah, it's not Kühling. And then I was like, how's that possible? I've just learned this and I'm quite sure it is chicken. And then I was telling the story to my partner on my way back home and he was like, yeah, Kühling is chicken, but in Danish. And I kept doing these mistakes. In Danish, I wouldn't say but, which is men, but I would say aber, which is but in German. So my brain was confusing the two languages so much that I cannot make one sentence in one language. I was always mixing the two together and I was not progressing at all. So I made the wise decision to drop German. And while I stopped learning German and focused on the Danish side of things, I still see that German is popping here and there. So in my brain. So I was like, okay, I need a way to forget a language. Like, yes, I need to forget German because if I'm going to live in Denmark and I need to master Danish, I need to forget it. And I started a process which is basically eliminating every single German part of my life, which is starting with all the Instagram pages that I was following that were in German. I unfollowed those. I asked my partner to not basically ask me any questions in German because his granddad was a teacher of German and he would sometimes throw some German words at me or would say something German in the house. And I was like, okay, we have to stop talking in German at all. I don't want to see anything in German. I have to make my brain realize that the only language that I can remember and focus on right now in Danish. And it was kind of a cleansing thing, just like, okay, everything I'm going to get exposed to from now on is going to be in Danish, and there will not be any German influence on my brain. And it was a bit difficult at the start because still some German word would come up in my brain and this would still take time. But after 2 months, the only thing would happen is once in a while I would say the German word instead of the Danish word, even though I know them both. But it was very, very minimal compared to what I was able to do at the beginning. And the other day I met a German person and they're like, oh, your partner said you speak German. And he was like, oh, how are you doing in German? And I was like, you know what? It's going to take me a lot of brain power to actually phrase that because I've programmed my brain so hard to not remember anything in German. And it actually took me around maybe 10-15 awkward seconds to actually remember to say that in German. And I was like, that's very good. I actually did forget it on purpose. And it was archived in my brain. It wouldn't come up immediately because I made myself not remember it. And it worked for my benefit. I'm improving so much in Danish right now. And I couldn't be happier. And once I master Danish, and I don't know if that's humanly possible to master Danish. That's quite a very hard, difficult language. But if one day I'm fluent enough and that I can understand natives' conversations without needing help, I think I'll get back to German and try to do the same with German. Are you trying to forget a language or have you already forgotten it? Which language is that? Drop it in the comments.